My name's Vicky Body. I'm a specialist teacher in the community CAMHS service. So my background was education, but I'm part of a multidisciplinary team, which means there are lots of different people from different professional backgrounds, and we work together to support children from 0 to 18 with their mental health. CAMHS stands for the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service. So in Sunderland, we've got 2 tiers of mental health support for young people. We've got CAMHS and we've got SIPs. And SIPs are the Children and Young People Service. We're known as the early intervention team in CAMHS. So we work with young people who've got mild to moderate mental health needs. So most young people will be referred to us in the initial case. What we can do is we will do a full mental health assessment of that young person with their family. We'll then work with the family and the child or young person to work out what they need. And then based on that, we'll come to an agreement of how we're going to treat that young person. Now, we've got a huge amount of different treatment paths in CAMHS. So we can do one-to-one therapy with young people. We can work with groups of young people. We can work with a family together, or we can work with parents on their own. So we offer a huge variety of different support. So school is a little bit different now in Sunderland. We have just got our mental health support team, which are starting to go out into all of our schools. So we've now got them as a first point of access for children in schools. Not every school has a mental health support worker yet, but that would be the long-term plan. So if a school in Sunderland do have a mental health support worker, they can do a referral directly to them to start with. And that mental health support worker will work with the child within school. Schools also refer directly to us, so we work really closely with our schools. With my role as a specialist teacher, I provide quite a lot of training and support for schools. So schools get to know myself and the other teachers on our team, especially because we do spend a lot of time with them, which means that schools can ring us and ask for advice and support. We offer a meeting once a half term for schools so that we can advise them how we're doing things and what's happening. But if a school wants to support a young person outside of the school, then they can refer directly to our service and we'll get involved. This is a brilliant way to do it. I think we're trying to promote our services. It's not so much for me promoting, it's understanding. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about mental health still. I think there's sometimes a lot of questions and sometimes even fear about what we are and what we're definitely not. So we do that a lot by word of mouth. So by going into schools, by attending different events. We've recently attended events alongside Together for Children where we can give people information and answer any questions. We're very happy to come along to anything where people want to know who are we and what do we do. And so when we say we promote, what we would do is we would just answer questions and try and let people find out what we do. To make us less frightening, because I do know that sometimes people are a little bit worried about coming. We do also now have a Facebook page and a Twitter feed through South Tyneside and Sunderland Foundation Trust, and we often post on those pages. So if people are following on Facebook or following on Twitter, you can get information about our service on there, and there is more to come. Our website is currently being modernised and updated, and that website will offer a huge amount of information plus support where people can access things. So this is slightly different. In CAMHS, we don't diagnose any conditions. Okay, so we're an early intervention service. That's where we're different to SIPs. So SIPs, the Children and Young People Service, are the next tier up from us. It's like a ladder. So I always say we're the first rung of the ladder and SIPs are the second rung. So if a young person, there's a question of what we call a neurodevelopmental condition, and that would include autism, attention deficit disorder, and other conditions for young people. We would do the initial bit of work with them. So they would still be referred to us, because what we would always try and do is offer support, because having a condition doesn't change the support that you need. It can be really important to have a diagnosis if you need it. Very important, but actually the support is the most important thing. So we would offer some initial screening for autism and any other neurodevelopmental conditions, but we would also offer that family support. Then when we've gathered information, because All neurodevelopmental conditions like autism, they don't just happen at home. You'd see them in school and other places. So we would have a full conversation with the young person, and we would observe and assess them. We would meet with their family and do an assessment with them, and we would speak with the school or anyone else who's involved. And if we get the information that we need, we would then refer up to CIPS, and that young person would move up to CIPS's waiting list, and then CIPS will do a neurodevelopmental assessment for them. You can access our service. Okay, so if you wanted to have a referral, you do need a referral made for you as a young person in Sunderland. So you can do that through school or through your GP or any other professional that's working with you, so they can make the referral on your behalf to our service. I think mental health is something that everybody has. I think it is just as important as your physical health. It's about your well-being and how you have the resilience and the ability to cope with life. Everybody has days when their mental health is not as strong, and that's normal. I think a lot of people hear the words mental health and think of it as a negative thing. It's not a negative thing. Everybody has it, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes you struggle with it. And it's when you struggle with it is when you sometimes need extra support. But for us as a service, what we would want to say is it is as important as your physical health. You wouldn't leave your leg broken and not go and have it fixed. So if your mental health is struggling, go and get some support. So there is no magic. There are lots of things we can do, but ultimately one of the most important things you can do is be with other people and be with the people who you care about, because sometimes mental health, if it dips, you can get very lonely and you can spend a lot of time by yourself. I think the best thing you can do is go and spend time with other people. The other thing I think you can do is physically get out and do something. It's a bit of a vicious circle with your mental health. If you're struggling, you tend to want to stay in and not do anything. But if you stay in and don't do anything, you feel worse, and it's a vicious circle. So I would say you need to get out and do something with people that you care about. It doesn't have to be go to the gym or do anything specific. It might just be have a walk with your family, take your dog for a walk. It might be go to the park with your friends. It might be go to the cinema, spending time with other people, distracting yourself and getting busy. It can be difficult at times because you hear some very distressing things, but we're very used to that, and our job is to support people through that, but we're also supported ourselves to do that. Anybody who works in mental health has a very good support system, and in Sunderland CAMHS we have a fantastic system. We meet with our colleagues, we meet with our manager, and we talk cases through. We have something called supervision, and we do that in lots of different ways. So we have something called peer supervision when we meet as a team to talk about things that are difficult and challenging and how we work through them. We have supervision with our direct manager to talk about our cases, and there's always someone you can speak to and check in with, because that is really important. Very supportive. 100%. I won't say there aren't difficult days, but it is one of the most rewarding jobs you can do, and I love it.